The backstage area led to Lupino's inner sanctum. The hot air inside was like an invisible wall, thick with incense and something else, a sickly sweet smell that made you gag. This was the rotten core of the Big
How's it
Apple.
going, guys?
Lupino lurked somewhere ahead, like a spider at the center of his web, waiting. The vapors in the air started to make my head swim. Torn pieces of a letter lay scattered on the sofa.
There's going to be a lot of dialogue.
Punchinello had threatened Lupino in writing.
There's going to be a lot of dialogue here, so I'm not going to talk very much.
Fingerprints all over them.
Don't want you to think that one of my boys is not playing with a full deck.
At the beginning.
Shape up, Jack. We are running a business here. I'd hate to send the trio to strong-arm you.
The trio were the Don's notorious henchmen. It was obvious that Lupino hadn't been intimidated by the threat. Lupino's notes covered the table.
And he talks about Lupino being a spider in the middle of the Big Apple. Or really, he's the worm.
Crazy, all right.
That we're deworming the Big Apple.
Demented arcane nonsense written in rusty blood. A mishmash list of demons, devils, and dark gods evoked.
Beelzebub, Asmodeus, Baphomet, Lucifer, Loki, Cthulhu, Lilith, Hela, blood given to you all.
He was after that old Faustian deal. Your soul for power and fortune. Just sign on the dotted line with your blood. Lupino's notebook lay on the pedestal.
Sounds like a...
Jack Lupino was crazy, all right.
Sounds like the average user agreement with Apple products.
To devour the sun and the moon. Lupino is the wolf. I'm Mr. Beast, the big bad Fenris wolf. I'm the end of the world,
Beast.
Man, wearing the flesh of fallen angels.
After Y2K, the end of the world had become a cliche. But who was I to talk? A brooding underdog avenger alone against an empire of evil, out to right a grave injustice. Everything was subjective. There were only personal apocalypses. Nothing is a cliche when it's happening to you.
I love that line. I don't know, it's well put, very much fits with the game's theming. What's cool is right below there, you can actually, there's, stuff down there, right? It's rendered. That's kind of interesting, and you can go down there right here, as you can see. There's no point. It's just kind of interesting that it exists, period. But I love that line about that. It's, it's only a cliche when it's not happening. It's not a cliche when it's happening to you or whatever, and that... basically kind of the whole line there, last line that you saw there, really exemplifies. I kind of want you to hear this, but I kind of want to talk too, because you've been listening to a lot of the game, so he's just kind of rambling. Anyways, well, so do I. I don't know. I'll have you listen to it, because we're about to get a cutscene here. So. Oh. Never mind. Well, the cutscene's slightly after this. Sorry about that. Anyway, so we're getting ready for the big battle, and as you'll notice, this area normally, and I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the remaster that the remaster mod that I'm using, causes some weird textures to flicker in and out of existence, as you can see here. It was like I was in a video game. Funny as hell, it was the worst thing I could think of, or whatever the quote is. Anyways, speaking of the other quote I was saying, yeah, the whole thing about that is only a cliche when it's happening to you just perfectly exemplifies the theming of this game, and exactly kind of what I was talking about. I think it was, directly in the last video. A lot of these, my talking points, a lot of them kind of blend together, but I think it was the last video when I was talking about, either way, that, the game really has a few main points in its plot, but those main points, although they're simple on the surface, they all kind of come together to allude to a number of things that you may not get on your first time playthroughs, things involving, kind of the Norse theming of the game, and kind of the whole revenge plot, and how it kind of ties into the human experience, corruption, and vices, and what Mona represents and everything else. So if you want more info, what I mean by that, definitely check out the last part. I mean, I don't know why you'd be watching this part if you haven't watched the previous parts, but definitely watch them if you haven't. And so yeah, I think the quote perfectly exemplifies the duality of man that the plot of Max Payne puts forth, and represents quite well the whole theming that the game has going on, and kind of the simple on its surface, cliche on its surface, yet very real for Max, very real for the world that it creates. And yeah, so if you want more details, definitely check out the last episode. And this area right here, definitely, even on an easy difficulty, can give you some troubles. I died like once or twice in this area, and I'm pretty sure I cut it out, I think. If not, you'll see it right around here. Normally what gets me is those guys right up there. I forget that one or two of them exist. And the problem with this area, the good and the bad of this area, is you really got to be on your toes and keep looping around and shooting guys, because there's, you know, quite a few spawn points. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8 different places, 6 different places that they can come out of and shoot you. And you know, they come in various waves, you know, some with Molotovs, some with, you know, Ingrams, some with just pistols, and so on top of that. Then after that, in between a cutscene, then we get even more guys that flood out. So you really got to be on your toes, and more than just that, you know, while you're shooting at one guy, you may be shot from up above somewhere else. So I'd say, if anything, this arena actually helps train you how to better play the game. Almost kind of one of the stages that help separate the men from the boys. I use that expression already, so I guess before, I think it was it not? It wasn't Roscoe Street Station. I think it was. What was it? Live from the Crime Scene. I think that was the stage name. The third stage. I'm pretty sure. That one I said separated the men from the boys in terms of its difficulty, and although that's true, this stage almost, I don't know, separates the men from the men from the soldiers, the men from the, I don't know, the people that will really understand the game's combat. And it's not like you can't get through this area without fully understanding the combat, but let me just say that it trains you a bit more, specifically because of what I was talking about. You're being shot from all angles, and if you don't, you know, manage those painkillers that they give you, you don't switch weapons to the appropriate weapon to take out certain guys from different distances, and you don't stay on your toes and try and constantly use the different maneuvering tactics that you have, you're going to get pinned down, right? You're shooting this guy, you're going to get pinned down from behind if you don't either keep moving or, you know what you're doing and take them out in time. And, you know, I mess up too here. And again, I've played the game, 25 times, something like that, all the way through. And, you know, I played the game a ton, and even then, in this area, as I talked about, I already died like 2-3 times, had to cut the deaths out. So, pretty sure I cut them out, because I would have died by now. I was right around, you know, about a minute and a half ago that I was dying. So
Lupino was pumped up and dying to go 15 rounds with a mutant alligator. And then he started this spooky monkey talk, straight from a bad dream. Mine.
I have tasted the flesh of fallen angels. I've tasted the devil's green blood.
All a bad dream.
It runs in my veins. I've seen beyond a world of skin, the architecture of blood and bow and arrow. Death is coming. She is coming.
Me after my first Red Bull.
Follows with her. This is the twilight winter. I am ready to be her son. Her time is now, and all who stand in her way must die. Die! You'll die!
If you paid attention to some of the lettering there, I'll mention it in a minute after he's done talking. Okay, so, yeah, here we got to take out a few guys, along with finally taking Lupino himself out. You got to love that. First off, before I talk about kind of the lettering and a thin little thing I kind of want to talk about here about comic books and Max Payne, I want to mention that this area specifically, you know, from the stained glass windows that have like a big demon thing on it to the altar and everything else, how'd they get this all suited up, right? How'd they dress this place up as good as they did? Was it always a den for, you know, seedy nightlife? Or was it originally an occultic temple? Was it originally an actual church that they converted? I don't get why the bar would be there, but...
a bad monster. Turned them into friggin' zombie demons from outer space.
I think he's dead already.
Huh? And that's when it happened.
But dead or not, you've got the wrong guy.
In stepped this knockout femme fatale, holding a gun to my face. I returned the favor.
Anyways, but yeah, how'd they get it all dressed up like that? Maybe it was originally a church or something, I don't know, and they replaced things. Like, who do you even hire to do that? Hey, go on, like, I don't know, Craigslist. Does anybody know how to do glass work? Yeah, I'm decent at glass work, okay. I would like a giant demon head with its tongue out in various shades of red and kind of burgundy to be put in this weird, drug-filled underground, whatever, seedy nightclub. Okay. Oh, also, do you know where I can get a old-fashioned kind of, not even Victorian, it's like before that. Anyway, some kind of old altar that you can do sacrifices on. I don't know, have you checked Etsy? It's just weird. I kind of wonder about that. I mean, there's real satanic temples, around, out and about, and I actually live across from what was that noise? I guess that was just, okay. I thought my audio recording stopped for a second. There are...
Mona Sachs, Lisa's evil twin.
Your safety's off, evil twin. You might hurt someone with that gun of yours.
Lisa's the damsel in distress. I'm the professional. I'd blow you away without batting an eye.
Sure, and you can check out my credentials splattered all over this joint.
Jack couldn't have framed you, not the state he was in. We're after the same slime bag. Angelo Punchinello's the one who murdered your friend and framed you with it.
You know this for a fact?
I've got my sources.
I don't have a clue these days. I just shoot them as they come. Who put a contract on the Archfiend?
This one's mine. I hate the guts of that sadistic wife-beater. Why not pool our bullets for this one?
I thought you'd never ask. My finger was starting to twitch.
How do you like your whiskey?
Their faces.
I'm easy, as long as you don't try to slip me a Mickey.
You're a real angel, Max.
It was good stuff. Tasted sweet as honey going down.
Nothing personal. Can't risk you going berserk and getting Lisa killed.
Sweet as honey? Lies.
The nightmare was always the same. Violent shapes moving.
Alcoholic lies.
Ugly. The killer's mad laughter was a riddle filled with wicked innuendo. Somewhere, the baby
Very
was
sad.
crying.
We're coming to the dream sequence here. I like how Mona looks, like in Max Payne 1. I love how Mona looks. You know, she looks like a real person, as opposed to like a weird, whatever, silicon mannequin. You know, a supermodel like in the second game. And I'm not going to say that she doesn't look better in the second game. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, those lips, that body. I mean, it's all very fake. Kind of like even like Max himself, which like in both games he has his own charm and the way he looks. Even then, though, in the second game, you know, he's almost too polished in my opinion, in the way that he looks and such. There's no offense to either actor that were modeled for both characters, but both of them obviously are, you know, the kind of models that you'd see in a real, you know, a real picture, a movie. Really is like a bad dream. It's funny how he said that right before. You know, he did have a bad dream. And I gotta move on with this topic here. But first off, I always forget about these interactive points. I don't know if I've actually ever...
Crime-fighting comrades, the best in NYPD DEA collaborative team. Good-hearted macho bullshit like that. I would have given anything to have him here as my backup. No such luck. No luck at all.
Sad. Very sad. I forget about that point. Oh, you got a cool picture right there of real people. I'm guessing more people of the development team. That's why I talked about that in the past.
The Payne family.
But the reason why all the characters in the first Max Payne.
I had thought it would last forever. Till death do us part. I didn't want to think about it. As long as I didn't,
real people,
it could never happen. But I had broken my own rule. The thought had already slipped in. Fear was rusty needles poking at my brain. Cold and scaly, it slithered down my chest.
The slithering of, you know, a snake like Jack Lapino. There's kind of metaphors there as well. The guilt kind of sliding down him like a snake, and the effects being like needles. He said, well, he's under the effects of Valkyr right now, which are dispersed mostly through needles, although it was slipped. Well, we're hinted at, I think, that he's given Valkyr, but I guess we don't know for sure. He's given, I mean, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but he's given, if you're watching this, you kind of are going to see spoilers anyways. But normally he slipped Valkyr later anyway, so you could say that he slipped that now. We don't know for sure, I guess, but if he is, then that fits with the metaphor of the needles thing. Those specific click point, and that kind of alludes to what he's saying there, kind of alludes to what we'll see at the end of this nightmare sequence, and especially in the next nightmare sequence, which basically shows that Max feels like he's guilty, like he, in a way, murdered his wife and kids, and that can be a misconception. He didn't, obviously. But he feels guilty, right? In the second nightmare sequence, he sees himself kill his wife, and that's very sad there. But just like when he said here that he let doubt sink in.
Disintegrate them. No matter what you do, they'll still be back.
Michelle's diary lay on the table.
And that click point I missed showing you guys, but
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
Yep. So as you see, it's as if he feels guilty. It's all sort of up to interpretation, but if he feels guilty, it seems pretty obvious
in the real world
for his wife's death, and that he let doubt slip in. Well, in other words, instead of letting doubt slip in, he let it happen. Right? He didn't. He was there was different things that you'll see later on, but there's various things the wife says that allude to her basically maybe getting in trouble and this happening, and Max ignored those. So along with that, and along with his lifestyle choice of being a police officer, kind of getting this stuff, letting this stuff slither into his family, seems as if he's saying, in this first thing that you heard in this nightmare sequence, that he allowed it to happen because he allowed doubt to get in. And by doubt, I'm guessing, again, he let his work life seed into his home life, and he let that doubt sink in, so he let it happen. And obviously he's not responsible, but nonetheless, he seems as if he feels that way. That's how he grieves. It seems as if this drug-induced nightmare is actually, letting out and letting him work through the emotions that are deep in his subconscious. That's what it seems like. I'll talk more about that in the second dream sequence. I thank you very much for watching. And yeah, thank you.